Alrighty, it is 10:48, 10:47, negligible difference. This is the engineered light, and as you see day in and day out while I'm inside of my apartment located at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, I'm on the 3rd floor, and this is the living room window where the entity is engaging in the course of conduct. Which is rising the light source. This is under no circumstances the natural environment, so I'm not going to use that language. It is already understood that the sun is not rising and setting at the same address. So we're on the same, we're all on the same grounds right now. I'm not speaking to those that are literally following step by step anymore. This is years of documentation. You've witnessed the pattern of conduct on an ongoing basis. And so you have seen the totality of that P.O.C. And so then we get down to, then you're really understanding like how asinine this is when you are able to document what the entity is doing. And all it requires is documentation where an entity is surrounding you as though the natural environment, okay, you want to be careful when you want to mimic the natural environment because you're going to be stuck to that. So while the entity was treating me as I am the center of the universe in an entirely different region, it was documented. And that's evidence that's going to be used against the entity because they're engaging in the same thing, which, by the way, you can document and prosecute outside of what I've done. I'm showing the existence of a whole system operated by a state. The ordinary targeted individual does not have to go from place to place to place in order to establish that the state is following them. The federal government is aware of the fact that the state of California in the United States, this has actually happened. That's the purpose of establishing precedent. Secondly, you are establishing the pattern of conduct. You're documenting the entity wherever it is that you remain. For example, if you're capturing the sun rising and setting over you, okay, you're establishing the venue, okay? And then the pattern of conduct is occurring within the venue. The targeted individual, the ordinary targeted individual does not have to go to the extent that I have. I have to do this because I'm establishing, first of all, this is real. It is the government that is doing this. It is both facilitating and engaging in. And who is it engaging in? With everybody around that's in this environment, which is a phenomenon. And so then you look much closer. You already know that this isn't sunlight. You already know that sunlight is not going to do gymnastics underneath a covered structure outside of the building to shoot horizontally like a laser through closed blinds at a downward trajectory at that. And that's just right now because you see other documentation where I'm showing, and it's present right now, the engineered light, the pattern of the blinds magnified on the ceiling. I mean, but like I said, we've got a fundamental understanding. A foundation has been set. This is the pattern of conduct. And at 10:48 a.m., specifically it's 10:47 on April 7, 2022, you will pay attention to the video documentation that I will remind you about. And this is the maintenance of a light source in an entirely different region. And you're going to compare the two, which is showing the maintenance of a light source. And first of all, the sun was supposedly rising. It has been over 3 hours. This is capturing the pattern of conduct in and of itself. Again, the ordinary target individual is showing what is targeting behavior in the environment. You're identifying it in the environment, and then you're understanding what is criminal presence in that environment. And then the facts and circumstances of the ordinary target individual is going to establish, exactly what's going on. But the P.O.C. is underway, period. The sun is not some stationary, stagnated object that's going to remain. And you know that it remains well after this, again, as late as after 1 o'clock. Remember when LA Fire and LAPD are providing ongoing concessions that are admissions, that are corroboration while they are stalking in helicopters in the same video where the light source is hovering over me in the same exact manner where the people of the state are stalking in the path. That's impunity. And they're doing so while the entity is keeping the light source over me at 1:17 in the afternoon, where documentation is showing the sun is over me in its zenith at 215 East C Street. That's the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, a facilitating venue. Over my head in its zenith at the Fontana Lewis Library at 8437 Arrow Boulevard in Fontana, California, a facilitating venue, a state facilitating venue. That's San Bernardino County. All right, by the way, just like you saw San Bernardino County the San Bernardino Human Services Department, they're monitoring. Like I said, I've documented that, but San Bernardino County has a lot of venues, in other words. But like I said, all I'm doing is identifying one address by address as I go. The state of California is a group stalker. They're engaging in criminal surveillance in the state. And it's doing it with the people of the state. And so at 10:47 a.m., this is documentation that I will upload to the Compare the P.O.C. folder, literally down to the same day and the same time, negligible 60-second difference, okay? But this is because I want you to give, for the world to witness literally how precise the documentation is with regard to the removal of any coincidence, or there's no chance, there's no way that I could there's no way to manufacture it. I could not make it up. In other words, if I want to, not only can I not create the environment around me, all I'm doing is capturing it, but I also do not control the outside circumstances, which is the pattern of conduct. The government engaging in a pattern of following me from place to place, which is the definition of stalking. And they're doing so in such outrageous methods, such as by helicopter. That is beyond a coincidence. It's beyond a coincidence where it's happening in the specific environment. It's beyond a coincidence where it's happening in the specific environment, and the people of the state are also, and state actors, third parties and state actors, are engaging in that phenomenon of what is crossing path and then light moving all across the surfaces while they do so. That's impossible. It's demonic specifically, but that's impossible to naturally occur. I don't have control any of those circumstances, and this is the P.O.C. That's the P.O.C. And then the entity engaging in what is the ongoing corroboration. As I speak to that which is damning, the entity engages in the exact same pattern, showing up in helicopter. All apartments, 59 units, are going to federal prison, and this is unfortunate. These are psychopaths who are hoping that you will think it's just me. It's not the people of the state, it's just me. Just prosecute people of the state, and it's the state, and it's not a coincidence that they continue to arrive in video, providing ongoing corroboration against the people of the state who are maintaining criminal presence. While you see that engineered light on my ceiling inside of my apartment, the people of the state are engaged in group stalking, living at Alvarado Gardens, maintaining cooperative presence in my path on a 24-hour basis, living at the crime scene. Not coincidentally, while I speak of them and prosecute them in documentation, the state arrives to engage in communicating a threat and providing ongoing corroboration, which is beyond any coincidence. Not that I need it. The pattern of the P.O.C. is already established, but like I said, these are things that I don't control, and you're looking at what is absolutely beyond any reasonable doubt. This is the state's prosecution, which is established beyond any reasonable doubt. And the people of the state are going to federal prison. So I will repeat that. There is no light source that would be over my apartment. The reason why it's over my apartment is because I'm subject to 24-hour criminal surveillance, just like the state just admitted, by flying directly. Remember, not just flying anywhere. They flew over my apartment, all right? While I am speaking to that which is capturing the P.O.C., providing that ongoing corroboration, providing that ongoing evidence of what is the impermissible threat, providing that ongoing evidence of what is monitoring ongoing documentation. Okay, that's what the impermissible threat is. And also it's an impermissible threat while the government, by virtue of engaging in the P.O.C. in this video, is threatening my life. That's a threat to your safety. It's a threat to your well-being. All of the environment is inside of my all of this is a terrorizing threat while an entity is placing you under surveillance. The entity is crossing path on the sidewalk that you saw in this video. That's impunity. That's malice. And that's a demon that is not in the natural environment. Those are demons that surround you in the unnatural environment. Not coincidentally, but intentionally and knowingly engaging in criminal facilitation. It's called light activity and relevant positioning. This is group stalking. That is a state actor in the intentionally maintained environment. And here it happens to be Alvarado Gardens. Everybody's going to federal prison. And what the LAPD just provided, first of all, they're demonstrating to the world that they're demons. They are demon possessed. Demon possession is a condition that is physically invisible. It is made manifest through the behavior, and it is also fully manifest through the environment where they're engaging in this behavior. And their behavior is not only demonic, it's highly criminal. Okay, and you're also witnessing what is the high level of mental disturbance while they are being exposed, both their criminal conduct and their condition, how they literally come apart at the seams. Providing, legally speaking, they are providing ongoing corroboration against its co-conspirator, and that are the people of the state who are living at a crime scene, providing 24-hour facilitation and that level of aid to a corrupt government who was threatening the life and terrorizing and sexually violating an American citizen in violation of their constitutional and human rights, and in violation of Title 18, while they're also monitoring, seeking to obstruct justice. They're going to federal prison, and they're going to federal prison for a long time. All of the children that are living at the facilitating venue of Alvarado Gardens are made group stalkers. They're engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, meaning the entity is employing them in the 24-hour surveillance in concert with that state that just flew over my apartment, not coincidentally, while I'm capturing this, listening to every word. I mean, this is sad, but this is justice, and it's absolutely necessary. And the people of the state, let me be clear, this country is going to learn. Any state that want to lend this level of facilitation to the government, they need to prepare to sit in federal prison, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to sit in federal prison, and you're going to be there for a very long time. The federal government, no American citizen shall be subject to this level of violation by a government abusing its position and identity and then seeking to discard, because that's exactly what the state intends to do by engaging in what is placing you under surveillance, and doing so through such demented methods whereby the targeted individual, by even trying to report it to someone, by the way, no one that they report it to is outside of the pattern of conduct. It is designed to result in what is criminal defamation, to have you permanently discarded. And that's if your life isn't snuffed out before that even happens. You are placed in a circumstance that is a threat to your life. And any and everybody that survives is creating a narrative as to what actually happened. Meanwhile, you are ignorant about the fact that they were actually a targeted individual. You're ignorant about the environment. You're ignorant about what was going on, who they were being targeted by. There's no documentation. There's no evidence of the existence of the system. And meanwhile, you have corrupt law enforcement agencies that are outwardly conducting themselves like they can fly over your apartment or where you work and follow you everywhere, and that you're never going to know, and never able to identify the fact that they are indeed stalking you, which you know that they're following you from place to place because it's beyond a coincidence, but you need more than what you know to prosecute. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. And it's beyond the fact that they are following you from place to place by virtue of the nature of that stalking behavior, doing it in a malicious manner with helicopter. That's all intentional. That goes toward malice. All right. And those psychopaths are providing corroborating evidence against the people of the state who are in the specific environment. They're sex offenders monitoring me inside of the private space. You're not going to forget the engineer light that was on my ceiling this morning. And then you're looking at what is beyond a coincidence, that same pattern of conduct occurring while I'm capturing video, speaking to what the entity was doing at the same day, at the same time at 10:47 a.m. And I'm speaking to why this is present over my apartment building. It's because everybody in relevant position is monitoring and they're going to federal prison. But I want to be clear, everybody in relevant position, the people of the state are being documented. This is systematic maintenance of criminal stalking as well. They're monitoring as well. And by they, meaning I don't need to know these group stalkers' names. They're going to be identified. The long arm of the federal law is going to find them, and they will be prosecuted. They will be specifically identified. This is unlawful facilitation. This is a state system. All right. And so this is serving for what is a prosecution of a gang who are targeting an American citizen. And that prosecution is going to flip that malice on its head, and they're going to find themselves bullied, if you will, by the federal law. And it's a matter of justice. All right. This is called balancing the scales. It's 11:01 a.m. and this is P.O.C. I want you to see that.